Fortnite Chapter 3 ends tomorrow, and in its conclusion brings a mix of emotions. This was probably the most transformational chapter in Fortnite history. Epic took a lot of risks, they had some great successes, and also some great failures. And before we start our journey together into Chapter 4 here on this channel, I want to look back at Chapter 3 as a whole and give my general thoughts on how I felt about it altogether. Was Fortnite Chapter 3 actually good? Well, yes. In my opinion, every season in Chapter 3 was better than the last. I know that many of you are going to disagree with that, but you have to understand something. When I say that every season got better, I'm not just looking at it from the standpoint of storytelling. I know that a lot of you view me as a Fortnite storyline content creator, and as much as I love the story, that pales in comparison to how much I love the BR. You have to understand the BR is what initially attracts us to the game, and I have played every season of Fortnite, going all the way back to Chapter 1, Season 1 to the present. I love competitive Fortnite, I play tournaments, so when I look at the chapter, I'm not looking at it from the lens of how was the story. And for those of you who are tired of Fortnite Chapter 3 because of the story, I can understand that. But also understand there's more to judge here than just the characteristics of how bad or how great Fortnite told its story. And speaking of the story, I think that was actually the weakest element of Chapter 3. A lot of plot points were introduced then dropped. The comics tried to tie themselves into the main storyline of the game, and it just made things more confusing. And I think in the end, overall, Fortnite just lost the attention of their general audience when it came to the story. The average Fortnite player doesn't care about it. And to be honest, even for someone who makes content around it on a frequent basis, the story can be very difficult to track. But we have to understand that this is not the most important aspect of Fortnite. The main things we should look at are the loot pool and the updates. I want people to remember that coming out of Chapter 2, we were all tired of that map. I think in retrospect, we were a little too hard on it because after some serious thought, I do think the Chapter 2 map was better. However, where Epic stepped their game up in Chapter 3 was with map updates. Epic didn't really update the Chapter 2 island all that much, and by the time Season 8 came out, we were just done. Early Chapter 3 definitely gave off OG vibes. Unfortunately, they didn't last very long, and that was because of the loot pool. Now, let me say this. When looking at the loot pool, you have to understand the difference between competitive and pubs. The competitive loot pool didn't get good until Season 4. But for pubs, I would say it was pretty decent. The new weapons were great for the first 2 seasons, but after that, they just became played out. I think if Epic gave us a season where we were on this map, but with an OG loot pool, it would make the game more interesting. Dare I say, even perfect. We had a bunch of old POIs, but what we needed were more older weapons to go with it. I also think this is part of the reason why people think this chapter ended way too soon. There was so much potential with this map, and we didn't have time to get used to it like we had in the last 2 chapters. This new map really, in essence, is a watered down version of the Chapter 1 Fortnite Island. But if Epic had just given us a little bit more time and played with the loot pool and the terrain of the map, changed the POIs up a bit, I think fans would have had a better impression of this map and this chapter overall. I think the thing that Epic did the best in Chapter 3 was experiment. This was the chapter that changed how we played Fortnite. From sliding and mantling to taking builds out of the game completely, the pace of the game was totally transformed. Look at any old footage from Chapter 1 or 2 and the game seemed slow without sprinting or vaulting. These mechanics added a new layer of depth into the gameplay, making it more fun to play. And on top of that, Zero builds made it more possible for more casual players to enjoy Fortnite, and I think that will be a huge player in keeping Fortnite relevant. And on top of all of this, we got some of the best collabs ever, like Dragon Ball into Fortnite. Guys, you have to realize, we were able to throw Kamehamehas in a BR shooter. What other game can you do that? Even the collab at the start of the season was amazing. The Spider-Man mythics, we all love those. This was an insanely innovative chapter for Fortnite. You know, Chapter 3 has always seemed weird to me because even from the start, this chapter seemed more like a transition than a brand new beginning for Fortnite. From the way Epic handled the loot pool to the story, it just felt like they were holding back, but now I think we can all see why. They've been pushing to make Chapter 4 probably since Chapter 3 came out. Guys, I could talk forever about Chapter 3, but I'm going to save more of my thoughts for my podcast tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Time live here on the YouTube channel. You should join us, it's going to be a good time. As we close out Chapter 3, I just want to say that I have enjoyed every step of it, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed a lot of it too. Has it been perfect? No, but it's certainly been fun, and I personally intend to ramp things up going into Chapter 4. Who knows, maybe I'll even be the next big Fortnite content creator. Only one way to find out. Subscribe to the channel, and while you're waiting for my podcast and the Fracture event to start, why don't you check out this video right here, which goes over my concerns for the live event. I love you guys, and I'll catch you soon. Peace out.